What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Dirty Durbs Racing Channel. The 71 Cutlass saga continues, and we're gonna get in here and pull this head off and figure out if the lifter's bad. Well, I mean, we kind of know it's bad. Hopefully it did not tear up the cam. That's a whole can of worms that I don't really want to get into. I mean, I will if I have to, but we got some big projects that have been waiting. We are still waiting on the heads on Buff's cars, so this is a good filler job, but it's not exactly what we had in the plans. This thing literally came here to get a fuel leak fixed and a tune. And you know, I probably worked 15-20 hours on this car already, on fixing a bunch of stuff and figuring out a bunch of stuff. Long story short, we had a bad cam sensor, as you've seen in the last video. So I'm just gonna start doing it. I mean, I kind of hope this is probably gonna take me an hour or something to get this head off. It's not gonna take me too long. First things first, I'm gonna suck all of the coolant out of the radiator. If you don't have one of these suction cuppers, they got a 1/4-inch wand. Stick down the radiator or in a radiator hose or whatever. And this will get, I mean, probably 80% of the coolant out to keep from leaking all over your floor. They're on Amazon for like 60 bucks. If you don't have one, you need to get one. Pump it up, let it suck. That'll keep sucking out of there for a couple of minutes while you do some other stuff. So let's get this thing apart. All right, guys, that's been like, realistically, it's probably only been like a half hour. I'm ready to pull this head off already. So everything came off pretty easy. So all the bolts are out. It's gonna leak a little coolant. I sucked, you know, a lot of it out, but ground wires are off, the back of the header's off. This thing's ready to come off. I'm sure I've never been inside this motor. I know nothing about the motor. I have no idea if this head has ever even been off the truck, or the car, sorry, I keep calling it a truck. It does have dual 660 springs in it, which probably gives me reason to believe that there's a cam in it, but I still don't know if it's had lifters put in it. The bolts did look pretty new. We'll just see what we see. Yeah, there goes all the coolant on my floor. That's all right. Yeah, this thing's been apart before. Looks like it's got new lifter trays. Alrighty then. Take my sucky McSucker here. Suck out all this coolant. Pop off this head gasket. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's had a whizzy wheel surface job. Yeah, definitely a whizzy wheel surface job. I know that because I used to do that myself. Suck all this coolant out of here. Let's pull this lifter out. It was cylinder 6. Yeah. These are new lifters. Everything looks good on there. Get a magnet, pull the rest of these out. So I actually think this one right here was the problem child. Oh yeah, she smoked. Damn. I'm gonna try to get the best angle I can for you. I don't know if you can see, that lifter is beat up. That thing's bad. I don't even know what would cause something like that. That's pretty crazy. They are new lifters. Huh. Well, hopefully the cam's not tore up. From what I can see, it looks all right for now. Okay. Damn. Cam does not look good. Cam does not look good. Oh wait, not well. Yeah. I think the cam might be smoked. Whoa. What? How does that even happen? Okay, well, see if I can get you in here so you can see what I see. It's hard to see through that bore, but the right side of the cam lobe is pretty tore up. And when you look even at the rest of them, the camshaft is only riding on like, you know, 70% of the lifters. It's like the camshaft is not, it's too far inward. And I don't know how you do that, something with the cam gear. Huh. The cam retainer, I don't know, that's pretty wild to me. Well, you know, the more you dig, the more you might find. I'm gonna talk to the owner of the car, tell him what I found, and see if maybe he wants to stick a new camshaft in it and some new lifters, or maybe just get a different motor. So I'll talk to him. We'll see what we find. Okay. Called the customer and he said, well, take it apart and see what you see. Now, the camshaft, from what I can see in here, looks like it's slid back, like maybe, well, let's say 1/4 inch. It's too far back 1/4 inch, and that's how it tore up the lifter, I believe. And maybe that had something to do with the cam sensor that we had going on. So maybe the cheap sensor couldn't read the distance, you know. Okay, water pump's off, balancer's off. My assumption, I haven't pulled this off yet, my assumption is that the only way that this could happen, I think, is if the cam gear bolts are loose and the cam is walking back because the bolts are loose. The cam retainer plate holds it so it can't go forward anymore, but the cam gear bolts hold it so it can't go back anymore. That's what I'm predicting, but I don't know at this point. Let's see. That was easy. Nope. Not that. Those are all tight. Huh. What the hell could it be then? It is a nice timing chain deal. Well, how could it go too far back? Let's just pull those off. They're definitely tight. That thing's really on there. Jeez. What the hell? Whoa. Oh yeah. Dumbass. I haven't pulled the other side off, so it's still got tension on it. The other rockers and stuff. That explains that. I hate those bat wings. Okay, I gotta pull that side off now. Okay, I think I may have figured this out. The cam gear was tight. I took it off just to check it out, and you know, I pulled it off. Let me get the camera closer. So you could probably see that the cam is flush with the plate. Well, it's never really supposed to be flush with the plate. It's always out like maybe 1/8 inch. That's where it's supposed to be. And that's where it was. So that's where it's supposed to be. Okay, so why is that? Now I go to look at the cam gear, and this ring has marks on the outside, which means it was going inside the cam retainer plate. And that's not a factory one. This must be an aftermarket timing kit. This is a factory one. It's got this big base circle, and that's what rides on the cam retainer plate to keep the cam from walking back, just like it's doing. So this thing is not doing its job. And that's something that I probably would have never caught even if I was putting this together. I don't know if the cam retainer plate needs to be different for this specific cam gear. I don't know. But that's what I found, and that kind of sucks. So now we have to pull the radiator out, pull the cam out, pray to God that the cam bearings aren't bad. And I could just potentially run up to Winter Circle, grab a camshaft, throw it in there, and put this whole thing back together. It's wishful thinking, because as you know, this job was supposed to be super easy. And now I'm literally getting down to like the nitty gritty of taking this whole thing apart. So this is my demonstration here. This is what I found. With the cam gears, they've got bolts in it, so the bolts are kind of using as a spacer to space this up off the table. But with the cam retainer plate on, this is the one that was in the car with that weird lip, and the cam retainer slides over that. Now, if you look here, I think this is in tenths. It comes right up to 8/10. And if you put it on this, which is normal, comes up to 9/10. It's hard to see on there, but long story short, the cam is, you know, we'll say 1/10 too far back. And this is exactly why. So I found the issue for sure. I don't know what the deal is with this thing. We looked up the part number and it was comp cams?
I believe so.
Yeah, comp cams, we think what was this cam gear kit. And I just don't think that it's supposed to go with this retainer, even though it definitely looks like it should, but it just sits the cam too far back. So maybe we're missing a piece to the puzzle. Maybe there's supposed to be a bearing. I have seen bearings that are supposed to go in here. Maybe that's not in here, something like that. But regardless, I'm putting a factory one in it and we're gonna be good to go after we get a new camshaft. Camshaft is out, and we pulled the cam out because we had seen this lifter lobe or cam lobe just tore up, but that was not even the worst of it. This guy up here is 10 times worse. You see the difference there? And you can feel it. It's ground down quite a bit. That's pretty nuts. The lifter itself was way worse than the original lifter that I found. That thing is tore up. So that was all of our engine noise that we heard. Luckily, both of those bad lifters were on the same head that I had pulled off. So all the other lifters look pretty good. I mean, they look great, still look new. So I could put a new camshaft in, replace those two lifters, put the new cam gear on, and put this thing back together. So I was just checking this out. I just got back from Winter Circle. I got a new cam, but I just kind of wanted to look over this again. And I started looking at the lifter that was on the really messed up lobe. And if you look right here, maybe 1/4 inch up or so, there's like marks on it. I'm like, man, what could those marks possibly be from? It's all the way around. So I kind of just held the lifter up on the cam lobe, and it literally rubs the cam lobe next to it because the camshaft was pushed back, and the lifters are in the bore of the engine, of course, so that the lifters stay in place. So this lifter was literally rubbing on the cam lobe next to it, and it was just riding on there. And I noticed that it's literally all the way around it. I'm like, yeah, dang, that's, in order for that to happen, the tray has to be bad. And I kind of glanced at the trays and they looked all right, but then I looked at the one that this one is in. It's definitely been spinning inside the tray. It's a new tray, and I'm sure it was fine when they put it together, but that is super wild. So we'll get a different tray. I've got some lifters to throw in this thing. We got a new camshaft. We're gonna go with the truck Norris cam. This is a springs required truck Norris cam, but will also work with the factory torque converter. We're gonna throw this in right now. All right, guys, we just got it back together for the most part. I'm gonna start this thing up and pray to God that we don't hear any noises and we got good oil pressure and yada yada. So let's see how it goes.
Sounds good. Pretty choppy.
Yeah, it's pretty choppy.
Choppy.
We got the new cam in. It's the Truck Norris cam. I think it's gonna be a lot choppier than the old cam, so the tune might be a little off. And I had to take that header off, and I haven't put the flange back on yet, so it sounds like poop. But I'm gonna get that on, and I'm gonna find this spacer for the alternator that we lost like an hour ago, and hopefully then this thing will be all buttoned up and ready to rip. The oil pressure was okay, it was at 42 PSI, a little lower than I'd like it to be. So hopefully it doesn't go any lower than that. Okay, we're gonna go for a drive again. The engine sounds pretty good for the most part. That intake, that sheet metal intake makes a very echoey noise. You can put your hand on it and the noise goes away. It's pretty wild. It drives so smooth.
Yeah.
And that noise that we're hearing in the exhaust, I think from it backfiring in the exhaust so much, it blew out the muffler. Oil pressure's doing good. Tip's getting a little hot. She needs to burp. I just got back from my first test drive and the motor sounds great. The oil pressure is like in the 30s at idle, which isn't bad yet. When it starts getting down into the 20s, I get a little nervous. So other than that, the motor sounds and runs great. The exhaust, it blew out the mufflers from backfiring in the exhaust from the whole cam sensor deal, so that was pretty wild. Other than that, it's been a long day. We did a cam, lifters, and you know, we had this whole deal apart today, so it's all back together. It runs, it drives great. We just got to finish tidying up all the stuff that I kind of made a mess out of, like with these wires and stuff here. This is one that I had ran just loosely to figure out if it was an issue or not. So stuff like that, I just gotta tidy up. The inside computer, I gotta put it back underneath the dash and mount it how it was. Other than that, this thing is ready for a tune and it's on its way out. The customer was not super stoked that I had to go through the motor and do everything that I did, but he is thankful, it sounds like. I mean, if I wouldn't have done this, I don't know who else would have done it for him. Like I said before in the last video, I wanted this to be a one-stop shop, so I blew through it. I did everything that it needed for the most part, you know, on my end. So I'm pretty stoked that it works. I mean, the guy's been down for 2 years trying to get this swap done, and you know, goes shop to shop, and people try to do what they can. But I'm glad that it is leaving here good to go. Like, he's driving it out of here, so pretty stoked on that. This car runs smooth. It drives like you're on a couch. Just smoothest car I've ever driven. She's ready to go. We definitely need to get new mufflers on here. These ones are blown out. I mean, they were brand new, but when the cam sensor issue happened and it was backfiring in the exhaust, I'm pretty sure it blew out these mufflers. Minor detail. I'm gonna check on this car is the shifter didn't really work right. Basically, while the shifter was in reverse, that was park in the trans. For the most part, all it really was that the shift linkage was in the Ford bolt hole up there instead of the Chevy one. And then I just screwed the jack back a little bit and screwed this forward to get the adjustment right. But while I was under here, I noticed a couple things, like 2 loose bell housing bolts. So I'll tighten those up. I was like, well, I better go check the other side. That was just missing completely. The next one up there looks pretty tight though, so. And that's probably not supposed to be like that. With those aftermarket dipsticks, I think that's probably a low car. Usually those have an O-ring fitting and they get rid of the factory seal that's busted out of there. So a couple of things I noticed. I'll throw some bolts in here for them, tighten them up, and then just kind of check out a few other things on the car. No big deal. We'll get her whipped up. He should be here any minute to pick this thing up. I bet he's gonna be stoked.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth as hell.
All right, guys, Jay's here to pick up his car. We're just going for a little cruise right now. He's just getting the hang of it. So this car has been 2 years in the making. He spent an ungodly amount of money with shop to shop, and unfortunately it just hasn't been right. So you drove it one time, right?
One time.
From one shop to the house,
Yep.
and then it never really moved after that.
Never. But now, this bitch is running.
It's running smooth. Everything. It runs great.
Sure.
Yeah.
This bitch smooth as hell.
This is a nice car. I wanted to wash it, but I didn't have time.
Nah, you good.
I always be washing customers' cars. It's like,
Good.
I just can't. You can go either way. Go straight. Because I don't like when they're dirty.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it's mine or not, I don't want anybody to see it dirty. So it's kind of a sharp turn. Justin and I, really the furthest I drove it was up to Winter Circle, and Justin was tuning on it. I grabbed my parts and we went straight back to the shop, or else I would have washed it. But
You're good. You're good.
she just needs somewhat of a detail, and we should be able to enjoy this the rest of the summer.
For sure. And the exhaust.
You gotta get that exhaust on first, yeah.
Might take it right to him.
Yep. So this car is, so you do got 24s? 6s, 26s for it, and then it's gonna get a rear end. Eventually it's gonna get paint and all that, but I think
All
you probably,
new metal.
what's that?
All new metal.
All new metal for the whole car, and this car is not even bad. It's not rusty. It looks pretty good. So this car is really gonna be nice once he gets done with it. So maybe enjoy it this summer, then do that shit next winter.
That's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing.
It gets a little depressing when you have so much money wrapped up in your car and you haven't driven it in years.
Yeah.
So enjoy it.
For sure.
Hit it hard next winter.
This bitch running. This bitch running now. Never drive like this.
Yeah.
Never even sounded like this. Louder, like you heard.
Yeah. I don't know what camshaft was in it, but this is a pretty good camshaft.
Okay.
It's called the Truck Norris cam.
Oh yeah.
So it's a big cam, and it'll sound good and it'll perform good. So
You got a car? Bring him to the real doctor.
yeah.
Be the real doctor.
Yes, sir.
Shitting on everybody, man.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that. And between Lou and all Lou's buddies,
Yeah.
they keep me pretty busy.
That's what's up.
It's crazy, the shops out in Chicago, the amount that they charge you for the work that you get is...
Don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I'm pretty sure I can move out there and make a healthy
sure.
healthy living.
For sure. For sure.
maybe
and
one
the
day.
timeline that they give you.
Oh yeah.
You know, you waiting for months and
Yep.
years for a car to get done.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't bring a car in unless I am ready to work on it that day.
Yeah.
So my stuff gets, as soon as it comes in, that's what I'm working on, that's what I'm doing. I try to stay focused on the same car.
Yeah.
And Buff's car is killing me right now because I've been waiting on the heads for 2 weeks. And that's out of our control, but it's killing me that it's in my shop torn apart for that long. I don't ever have anything that long. I can do a full swap in 2 weeks, so.
Yeah, take other motherfuckers 6 months.
I know. But it's not only me, I got a good team too, so.
Yeah.
I got great tuners. We probably just turn around here. But I've got great tuners. I've got everything. I got parts stores handy. It's real local.
Yeah.
Like Winter Circle, Yates CFI. Motion's only 25 minutes from my place, so I feel like that also helps me out a lot.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
not only me, so.
Got some good shit going on, man.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
No problem. Coolant temps 193, oil pressures 36 while we're out of the gas, so it's decent. I think the oil pressure could be a little bit better, but it's not bad. It's nothing to worry about yet. Alright y'all, this is pretty much going to be it for today's video. Jay loves it. He loves it so much it gave me a tip. And I don't think I've ever gotten a tip before, so that tells you something right there. I appreciate you guys watching and subscribing. I just got monetized, by the way, so if I start acting a little different, just know that I'm getting them checks.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
So yeah, yesterday I got monetized and I got a $1.32 in there right now. So if I'm acting a little different, you know why.
Yes, sir.